Well, Gemma, this morning there are around 700 or so rescue workers, firefighters, even some military soldiers deployed to that fairly remote part of Guangxi province, the mountainous hilly area where the plane went down. But expectations have been set that there are not going to be any survivors among the 132 people on board this flight. Images have been circulating around, including one that has supposedly been verified by a state media outlet that show surveillance footage of the plane plummeting to the ground at a very fast pace. Either way, there are multiple reports that this China Eastern Boeing 737-800 jet descended incredibly quickly from around 30,000 feet. Over the course of about a minute or a minute and a half, it went from 30,000 feet crashing to the ground. So it was a rapid descent, almost as though the plane fell out of the sky. Some radar tracking data appears to show that the pilots momentarily were able to restore altitude after most of that descent, but the plane once again continued to plummet. So at this stage, Gemma, it looks more like a recovery operation rather than a rescue, and big questions will be swirling around about what exactly went wrong.
Yeah, Bill, do we have any idea what caused the crash?
Yeah, aviation specialists seem to suggest that this is a very unusual circumstance. Most of the time when there are air crash disasters, it happens after or during the takeoff or landing. It's less common for planes to crash when they're mid-flight, especially in the circumstances where it has descended from around 30,000 feet cruising altitude in such a short amount of time. So there's a bit of speculation around, nothing at all shored up. Of course, it's far too early. But this will put the spotlight on Boeing, because even though this 737-800 is not the same aircraft as the 737 MAX, which had 2 fatal crashes in recent years in other countries, nonetheless, it is a similar model, it is the same company, and there is going to be huge scrutiny on whether there was some sort of aircraft failure.
And what's the local reaction been?
Well, China's President Xi Jinping expressed shock at this crash. I think there has been widespread shock throughout China's aviation industry, because even though the last fatal passenger jet crash was only 11 years ago, in that time, China's domestic aviation industry has ballooned. It has now become either the biggest or the second biggest domestic passenger market in the world. Every day there are thousands upon thousands of domestic flights crisscrossing the country. So the volume of passengers, the volume of flights each day in China now is so huge that for more than a decade there hasn't been a fatal crash. This recently was touted by state media as proof that China's domestic aviation industry had a very safe, good record. And so I think this has caused a fair bit of shock that you have had the biggest crash in China, well, the first for 11 years, but it's actually the most deadly since 1992.
East Asia correspondent Bill Birtles reporting from Taipei.